Hey everyone, it's Anwar Cobblers Plus, and thank you for joining us for another daily video. Today we're going to be covering Thursday Boot Company, one of the new guys out there that seem to be blowing up like crazy. So come join us and check out what we have for you. So thank you for joining us again on this daily video. As you can tell, we're talking about Thursday Boot Company, one of those newer brands that hasn't been around for too long necessarily, but are kind of blowing up in popularity. They're just all over the place. So we ended up, me and another cobbler, Sonny Yu actually, if you're an avid shoe enthusiast, may know of him. We started up the Thursday Boot Enthusiast page on Facebook, so definitely check that out as well if you'd like to. But let me grab my notepad here. So Thursday Boot Company in general, they're one of those boot brands that are just crazy low prices for a phenomenal boot out there. I mean, the things that they're doing is awesome, but at the same time there are a few things that I'm not too excited about that they've been doing, so just stay tuned for that basically. But let's start out a little bit about the company itself. It was founded in 2014, and from what I can find, it started out as an idea on a surfing trip in Nicaragua. Nicaragua is where most of my cigars come out of. I do like me my cigars, so Nicaragua is a good place. Never been there. Hopefully I'll be there someday and check out the start of where Thursday Boot Company started out, basically as an idea, in other words. Now, this company, even though it's only about 6 years old at the time of this recording, it's already a brand that's very well known. It's a brand that is now being worn in all 50 states and in almost 60 countries as well around the world. People love them even in other countries, even though this company is an American company. People in other countries are getting them too, so it's kind of an interesting thing. A little bit as far as like how they're built, in other words. I mean, as far as the uppers go, these are all leather uppers that they use. They use tier 1 leather, which means it's kind of like the highest standards and stuff. There's tier 1, tier 2. Other companies will do a different grading, like letter grading, A, B, C grades and stuff. So in other words, it either be tier 1 or grade A leather, meaning that it's all high quality North American cattle. So very durable, very high quality leather. Unfortunately, I only have one pair in at the moment at the time of recording. Sometimes I'll have like half a dozen pairs all at once, and then all of a sudden, like right now, I only have one pair. My previous recording on the brand, and it was kind of a bust because I had a couple of damaged frames in the video. I had, I think, like 3 or 4 pairs lined up in the video, and I had to scrap that whole video, sadly. So sorry, I only have one pair at the moment to be able to show off. Now this pair, obviously, as you can tell, is going to be worked on. It still needs new soles and everything. We'll talk about that a little bit later though. Now overall, as I mentioned, the leather uppers are phenomenal. They're very well made. They source a lot of their leather from Horween Leather Company, or Horween Tannery, which is the largest tannery in North America, and other companies from around the world also use that leather from them too. So, if you're familiar with Horween Tannery, you know that this company's got some good ties. They also have their own leathers too. One that is very interesting to me, and I hope to own one of these days. I just have to watch my budget and not spend quite yet. But they're suedes. Their suedes are awesome. Like, I've felt them. They're different. They have like treatments done to them where they don't feel like crazy soft like normal suede or nappy or anything like that, but they still have like this oily feel. And as I read into it, I realized why. They do what they call weather safe suede is what they call it. Sorry, I have to look at my notes. So basically they waterproof it, and they also use a hydrophobic compound in it. And hydrophobic compound, I kind of had to look that up, is actually used in oil spills to help remove oils and chemicals from water. So if you take the waterproofing and that hydrophobic compound and put it into a suede, you basically have like almost an indestructible pair. Now, obviously this is kind of like introduced into the leather to prevent the leather or anything from, you know, getting all those penetrations of liquids into the boot. Now, if you have it on the outside of the boot, you may cause some staining. I can't guarantee it. Nobody can ever guarantee it. It's suede. You may end up with water stains or something else, but just keep up with the waterproofing and maintenance on them. You should be all set. And if you're going to be wearing them in harsh conditions, you may want to check out some of their more roughed out type leather that they have that's oil treated and everything. But the suede ones, I definitely want to get myself a pair. I mean, I do work in the back with chemicals and dyes and stuff like that, but if I destroy them, that's my fault, and maybe I'll just go for a darker color so that if I ever need to, I can do something about it. I don't know how it's going to hold up with re-dyeing though, so that is going to be an interesting one. If I end up having to re-dye a pair, full disclosure, cost-wise, it's probably not going to be worth it to re-dye a pair, but if you ever decide you want to give it a shot and stuff like that, by all means, we'd be more than happy to do that for you and give it a shot and see what the outcome may be. Otherwise, if Thursday's watching this, which you guys actually do watch it, thank you for watching and liking my videos. I know you guys have commented on a few of them with the resole. Apologize, I haven't been posting too many videos of yours. I have a ton of lineup of videos that I have to really get through and hammer through, and we just got done with our website on top of that, so a lot going on basically. But anyways, back to the overall boots. So as far as that hydrophobic compounds, basically it's oils, fats, alkanes, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, and greasy substances. It's like a compound that they mix together, and again, it is technically designed to remove oils from oil spills and all that kind of stuff, and kind of control things. So if you introduce that into a suede boot, that's an awesome thing. I definitely want to test that out at some point. Obviously I can't test it out on someone's boots, in other words, but one of these days I'll get myself a pair, and man, I so don't know if I'd want to do that and test it out and ruin a good pair of boots, but we'll see how it goes from there. Now, Thursday Boot Company, they design a boot with a Goodyear Welt construction, full 360 degree. That goes all the way around. You can probably see all that stitching and everything all over there. That means that the sole itself and the midsole is all stitched down to this welt. The welt is stitched to the upper, and so it acts as kind of like a buffer in between the upper of the boot and the sole. So kind of helps extend the life expectancy when it comes to recrafting and resoling them. Eventually you could end up resoling them over and over, and then when you need the welt replaced, it can be replaced as well after anywhere between 3 to 5 resolings. So it's definitely a great thing, and they're one of the few companies that actually uses a leather stacked heel base, which is very cool, especially at that price point. A number of boot and shoe makers out there, they don't really use leather too much. Even some of the boots and shoes that are running over $1,000, I've noticed, even they're starting to cut corners and using, like, you know, fiberboard type materials, like pretty much it's pressed cardboard in other words. So great on you, Thursday, for doing that with these things. I am gonna have to ask you guys though, if you're watching this, comment down below, where did the name Thursday Boot Company come from? Did you guys decide to start up the company on a Thursday, or was the idea in Nicaragua on a Thursday that came to your heads? Let me know. Comment down below if you're watching this. I would definitely like to know. I couldn't seem to find it anywhere as far as like that information. Maybe I just accidentally skipped over it or something, but let us know. Let us know down below so that everyone knows. Why Thursday Boot Company? Why not Friday Boot Company or Tuesday? Let us know. Now, as far as the soles, they do have a couple of varieties and options. One of them I'm very excited about. The others, I mean, meh. I guess, I'm sorry, it's honest. Thursday Boot Company, I mean. So the very popular one that we see is this one here, the rubber compound that they use from that they designed themselves, and it actually says Thursday. It's a great sole, but there is a bit of a flaw in it, and the flaw is the fact that this rubber compound doesn't seem to actually mold to itself very well, so that when they're heating and molding it, in other words, the problem is that when you catch that toe right here, this one didn't have it happen, but a number of these, sorry, got interrupted there, but anyways, when you catch that toe at that perfect angle, basically, it can end up ripping, and just a little small chunk right before the stitching. As you can tell, that stitching is worn out there, but right before it has a tendency to rip off. And I don't know if that's something that can be prevented with changing out the midsole, because the midsole is a bit on the softer side. It's almost like a high density crepe material instead of, you know, a composite. So Thursday Boot Company, if you're watching this, might want to check into that. I know you guys are getting a lot of reports about it. We've had customers come in and you said you would cover it, which they do. They do a phenomenal job as far as, you know, covering expenses on that kind of stuff. And because I love the brand so much, if the customer is fine with, you know, just a minor fix up, like readhering it and putting a epoxy, seal it up, it's not noticeable. It doesn't stand out like crazy with that epoxy. We usually do it free of charge, just because, again, we love the brand. So we're not even going to bother charging the customer or the, you know, the company directly on something like that. Now, if the customer wants to have them resold, by all means, we can do that as well. The other sole that they have, obviously, is a leather sole as well. I haven't looked into too much details on it, but from what I can understand, it's very similar to our house grade leather. So it's a great sole. It's going to hold out phenomenally, but I don't see those boots in too much with that leather sole. So it's kind of like, I've seen maybe like 3 or 4 of them in like that. So not much I can say. It seems to hold up just like our house grade leather. Not quite like a JR sole, obviously, but JR sole is going to come at such a premium cost that the price on these things will just skyrocket. But hey, that's how it goes. But the one that I really like, it's a combination sole that they have. So it's a leather sole that has these pegs here, like their bottoms here, that are made out of rubber for some traction. So it looks a little nice, casual and dressy, but at the same time has some traction. That one is really cool. Before a lot of the chaos in the world has happened, we were actually talking to Thursday Boot Company about trying to get our hands on those soles, and they said we're allowed to use it on other brands as well. And so we're still working on that. I actually have to probably go ahead and give them a call and talk to them some more about it and get my hands on those soles, because those things were awesome. I really, really like those. So definitely look into those if you want something like that on your boots. Before we continue on, got my hat on. Forgot about it. Usually just have it hanging in the back. I don't wear it around the shop. I don't want to get it destroyed. So if you don't see me wearing it, that's why. I want to save it. But anyways, back to the boots. As far as you know, internally and everything like that, these are leather lined on the inside, which is definitely a great thing, to have that leather liner on there. And it's got an insole as well. Now the insole is glued down. It's got a foam cushion underneath there, and so it can be replaced. It's just not something that you can do yourself at home very easily and efficiently, but it can be replaced. We at the moment are using aftermarket insoles and stuff like that, but who knows, maybe we may get our hands on original factory Thursday insoles. So we'll see how that goes. As far as lacing and everything like that, they do a phenomenal job with their eyelets and hooks and everything. It seems like they put a lot of care into it, using backings on the back of them. Some companies don't do that, or they use a little bit of a O-ring around here to make sure it's reinforced and doesn't pop out. And if it does pop out, that means you're being very rough on your lacing method. So be a little more cautious about it, because those things are really, really on there quite a bit. And then internally, things that you don't see, but you can definitely check out in the videos, they do use a cork inlay on the inside, so that's definitely a good thing on these. Cork is a great insulator, great support features, wicks away moisture, all that great jazz. You may have already heard me talking about it, but cork is my favorite. There are other, you know, inlays, in other words, that you can use. Foam, which is probably the worst of them all, and then leather as well. But anyways, the making of these, they have a number of places that these are made out of. So the primary U.S. State that they're made in, and it depends on the models obviously, is in Arkansas here in the U.S., which is kind of cool. I don't know exactly which model, so I'm guessing, let's see, handmade in small batches. Let's see, I should have double checked this, but I don't see where these ones are coming out of. It just says handmade in small batches, but you know, it depends on the model, obviously, where they're coming from. But the other countries that these are coming out of also are very well knowledgeable, you know, boot and shoemakers in these countries. Mexico, Portugal, and Spain. I mean, if you're having boots and shoes produced, these are in the top 5 easily all the time when it comes to boot making. Mexico, Portugal, and Spain are definitely well known for having boot makers and shoemakers out there that are multiple generations in. So they're in some of the top countries of having their boots manufactured, that's for sure. Now, as far as sizing goes, for the men's, they do have standard width, which is about a D width, and then wide, which is double E to triple E width roughly, on a handful of their models. Not all of them, but there are a few models. I think like the Captain, which is this one here with that cap toe, it's their most popular model out there. That one does have the different widths. A few of the other models I checked into, it seemed like it just had the standard width only, but you know, the Captain is the most popular one regardless. Most people go after that one anyways. Sizing goes from 6 to 15 with half size in between, up to I believe 12, and then from then it goes on to whole sizes, which is very common and standard. And then they also have women's boots available now too, that are not only Goodyear Welted, they have other ones which I'm not too excited about, just because I thought, you know, Goodyear Welted boots is their kind of standard go-to, in other words. But in the women's, they range from sizes 5 to 11. I didn't come across any width options, even in their women's version of the Captain. I didn't see any width options as well. Who knows, maybe they'll come out with that down the road. But with the ladies, it's a little bit harder to get the width down as well, so it's understandable. But again, like I mentioned, they're coming out with these new kind of fashion, trendy style boots. I'm not too excited about them personally. Some of you ladies probably are, but that's my opinion. I was a big fan for Thursday Boot Company sticking to their guns as far as doing Goodyear Welted. That was my exciting part. But I can't deny that they still have pretty cool ladies fashion forward boots that seem to hold up fairly well as well. But that was my opinion on them. Now, Thursday Boot Company does also have their own lineup of products as well. I am missing a couple that they sent out to me as a free sample along with this awesome hat and a sticker, but my sticker is on Big Bertha back there, which is my workbench. But their brand here is Cobbler's Choice here, the products that they use. So they're a little more on the natural ingredients side that they tend to use, so definitely a great thing that they have. As far as like strength or potency or anything like that, it is a bit on the lighter side on all their products. It seems like a little more generic and basic use. Doesn't seem like they really have anything that's strong, like it will really restore maybe color or do extensive conditioning or deep cleaning. It's more general, like something if you were to buy a pair of these boots, if you got a lineup of all their products that they have here, you'd be able to maintain at home and take care of your boots. Now, for us cobblers, unfortunately, these are just not strong enough. We get some really damaged stuff in sometimes. So, you know, for in-home use, for you to have and care for your Thursday boots, or even other brands too that are similar as well in leathers, phenomenal stuff. Again, natural ingredients, that's a huge perk. I'm really against using chemicals that are just too harsh on your leathers, but their stuff is definitely worth it if you end up ordering a pair of Thursday boots. Definitely get the product as well. Helps extend life expectancy significantly on all of their footwear and other footwear as well. But thought I'd mention that. Now, finally, that we have covered the overall boots, I said phenomenal price point. Basically, they're averaging about $200 a pair, which is awesome for a Goodyear Welted boot. Some of the women's are actually even a little bit less, and there are certain models that may be a little bit more, depends on what it is. Some are, you know, like $160, $140, and some of them are $220, but averaging cost is about $200. I think these guys are like $199. And so for any of you that are wondering, you know, why can they keep their prices so low, it's not because they, you know, cut quality of any kind or whatsoever. They do direct to consumer basically. So if you wanted to order a pair, you would have to go to their website, and that's the only place that you can get them from. As far as ordering them from a third party, like you know, big box store, or if we were to say carry it, they don't do that kind of stuff. Mainly because obviously you have to mark up the prices, because it has to be worth it for the retailer to be able to sell them, as well as, you know, the company making some money too. So if they were going through a middleman like that with middleman markups, you're averaging about $400 a pair, I would say, close to that. Maybe you can pull it off for about $350 if you're lucky, but that's the rough estimate. And in some cases it might even be up to $500 too. So because of that, you know, the prices are just great, just I mean amazing. But the downside is that you would have to order it through them, and they're very flexible about, you know, if you order a pair and it turns out it doesn't fit right, and you may need to go up or down a size or something like that. They're very flexible about, you know, returns and exchanges. So definitely. But you could always also go to their New York location and check them out in person as well. And if you're out there ever, I know a lot of people travel out there and a lot of people live there too, so you actually have a location. One of these days I'm hoping I might be able to work something out with them as far as, you know, something. Who knows? I don't know. But definitely hoping to work out the getting access to their soles, because at the moment, as far as their soles go, this pair here is getting resold with a pair of Vibram mini lug soles by request of the customer, and then we also use Day Night and the Vibram Eaton are the most popular soles that we tend to use on these. Their original soles may possibly be able to give us the opportunity to mark down the prices, but if you want you know, recrafting or resoling done or something like that, obviously if you're comparing the price of what these come, you know, brand new versus having a resole done, in some cases resole might not be worth it, but that's just depends on what level you want the resole option done at, because there are a number of levels. Certain premium grade soles like JR Leather, for example, it's really going to bump up these boots, but it's going to make them very customized too. And I do have a number of people that they'll bring in a pair of shoes or boots that were only like 150 bucks originally, and they have over $200 worth of work done to them, makes them customized, upgrades them, and just makes them one of a kind basically. So, you know, don't think that you buy these boots and they're meant to be tossed away. No, not at all. You know, in some cases it's quite a bit of an upgrade if you decide to go certain directions of, you know, types of soles or finishes, and just makes them more personal, in other words, too. Thought I'd throw that out there and everything too. But otherwise, for the time being, you know, we're working on trying to see if we can get their original soles. But hey, they're still a phenomenal boot for about 200 bucks. So definitely check them out on their website, Thursday Boot Company, or Thursday.com. I think it's ThursdayBoot.com. I should have wrote that down, but Google it if so. Thursday Boot Company. There you go. You can Google it. Otherwise, I'll leave the link down in the description of their site. So check it out down below if so, and definitely look in to see what they have for you. But thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to hit that thumbs up button and subscribe if you haven't already. Hit that notification bell icon to be notified when our next video is going to be out, and stay tuned for more. So again, thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.